Hello again, Stephanie Barger.
Hello, how are you, Lee?
I'm good. I'm good. Today we're going to talk about how to keep a dog from peeing on a Christmas tree, or really on anything inside your home. But Christmas trees can be a little bit of a challenge for people. Why do dogs like to have an accident around a Christmas tree?
Well, I wouldn't call it an accident. They're probably doing it on purpose. And it doesn't always happen, but it definitely can, especially if you have a real tree instead of an artificial one. Okay. After all, that's what they're allowed to pee on when they're outside is the trees. So monitoring your dog and keeping them away from a particularly a live tree is key because they are not necessarily understanding that it's a tree. They're allowed to pee on trees. And so they're not necessarily recognizing that the tree in the house you're not allowed to pee on. That so it makes sense that they would think, oh well, it's a tree. I'm going to pee on it.
Yeah, I hear a lot about dogs wanting to, quote, mark their territory. Is that true or not true?
Usually, marking is involved when you have an intact animal, or there is a lot of uncertainty or tension in between animals in the home. If you have one that is not well potty trained and is pottying all over the house, you might also get particularly male dogs, but female dogs will do it as well. We have a male and a female in our house, and if they are both out in the yard at the same time and one pees, the other one goes over and pees over it. And it's really just about identifying them as being part of a social group. Hey, my buddy was here and I was here too. Usually people use the term marking to refer to dogs who are, jumping from spot to spot and leaving a little bit of a deposit.
Are there any clever tricks or deterrents you can recommend to keep dogs away from a tree, an indoor tree, or really anything? I'm sure a house plant, there's lots of things that could have
Mm-hmm.
been that way.
Yes, yes, I've had people say that their dogs are using their houseplant as a toilet. I don't know that they're that clever. Baby gates, X pens to keep them out of the tree area unmonitored. Remember, if they're going to pee on your tree, they're also peeing on the presents under your tree. Monitoring them when you can, and when you are monitoring them, redirecting them so whenever they show interest in the tree, so that they start to learn that they're supposed to ignore it. Some dogs may respond to deterrent sprays. These are similar to the ones that you might spray around your house if they are not house trained properly yet. Sometimes citrus smells will deter a dog, so you could always try those. They're not foolproof. There are a number of dogs that are not deterred by these smells. So don't get frustrated. That just means that you have to up the ante on the making sure that they can't get to the tree part, which is baby gates or X pens, some kind of barrier, closing off that room and only allowing the dog in there when people are in there, or just, making sure that your dog is monitored all of the time.
Explain to people what you mean by X pen.
An X pen, it's basically a wire pen. If you think about the wire crates, it's sort of like that, only they're just horizontal, and you can make them into all sorts of different shapes, circles, squares. So they're some of them have doors, but they don't have a top part of it. So if your dog's a jumper, that's not going to be very helpful. Some of them are a little bit unstable on the base, so you want to make sure that you have things that you can properly prop them up against, like walls and that kind of thing, to make sure that they're more stable.
Okay. Yeah, send me the link. I'll make sure I put it in the show notes.
Okay, I will.
Talking about all of this makes me think about holiday safety in general, because there's a lot of things to consider when it comes to the holidays,
Hmm.
correct? What should we
Yes.
know about keeping a festive environment safe and fun at the same time?
Yeah, well, your dog may be fascinated by the tree or other decorations, and so you want to make sure that you're monitoring them. Things like tinsel, popcorn strings. I have a story about that later. And small decorations can be dangerous if your dogs ingest them. So we were really lucky when I was young. We always put popcorn strings on the tree, and it was a fun thing. We created them, right? We strung the popcorn, put the popcorn strings on the tree, and one year, our family, a dog decided that out of the blue, he wanted to eat the popcorn strings off of the tree. He did a wonderful job, did not pull the tree down at all, managed to get everything except for the very top part of the popcorn string, had a wonderful snack, and he didn't get sick. We were really lucky, but it just goes to show you that you can be diligent every year or think that you don't have a problem, and then all of a sudden your dog decides, "Hey, I would like some popcorn and I will take it off the tree." We always put popcorn on the tree, so you can't necessarily assume that because everything's been okay in previous years, it will be okay this year. You do wanna make sure that you're just when things come out, how interested is your dog? You know, are they fussing at the tree a little bit more than normal? And take precautions. You don't necessarily want to be making an emergency vet visit during the holidays for an obstruction.
Yeah, good point. So what about other things that might be around during the holidays? Things that are just lying about? Anything
Yes.
to be concerned about?
Sometimes we have special plants that we bring in for the holidays. We certainly have special foods that are around for the holidays. You want to make sure that you are aware of what might be toxic to your dog. Cats too, because those might be different. There are things out there that won't necessarily kill your dog, but are going to make their tummy really uncomfortable. Google is your friend. You can just search, what types of things or what plants are toxic to my dog, what foods are toxic to my dog, and you'll get a nice list.
I remember many years back, we were using a bird food that was a premium mix. And in that premium mix were raisins.
Yeah,
Those were
yeah.
falling on the ground, and raisins are incredibly toxic to dogs. I'm thinking all those trail mixes and party mixes that we put out at the holidays. You don't
Mm-hmm.
always think of raisins or
Yep.
grapes or some very
And
common foods that really dogs should not be eating.
right, and some nuts are very bad for dogs as well. Even though, I mean, some nuts are just, hey, they're high in fat. Be careful, could cause pancreatitis, but some of them are toxic to dogs and will actually cause them harm.
Wow, that's good to know. So Google, Google, Google
Yes.
everything just to make sure. We're not going to get into long drawn out lists here.
No, it'd take too long.
Yeah. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think that that's a good synopsis.
Very good. Well, we're going to move ahead with the holidays, knowing that our dogs will be safe and protected, and hopefully no trees will fall down or get wet in the process.
Wonderful.
Take care,
Talk to you
Steph.
next time,
Talk
Lee.
to you soon. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.